you know what, I think I can do that. I always talk all the time. So basically speaking is not the lacking skill that I have. Is it going to work? There are already real estate YouTuber already in Thailand, but I'm pretty sure that there's not many women. Bangkok condo market is coming back. So they tend to find a place that reflects on who they are.
Do you have storage problem?
Doesn't anybody else?
Should you rent or buy? When is the time to know that it's time to own a place, not just rent?
It's such a fulfilling feeling. I don't know how to express it in words. It feels like you did it, you really did it.
This episode of KND Featuring is brought to you by Whizdom COEX Enjoyable Coexistence พื้นที่ของคนเจนใหม่ให้ชีวิตสนุกได้ในแบบคุณ by MQDC. Hey, what's up everybody? My name is Vic and this is KND Featuring. And today we are talking to someone who has been on the show twice, I think. But the last two times that she was on the show, we are just doing podcasts.And so there's no video. But this is the first time that we're going to be talking and it's going to be on camera too. Hello, JUNEJUNE.
Hello ค่ะ สวัสดีค่ะพี่บี
สวัสดีครับ It's been too long, don't you think?
Yes.
Yeah.
Happy to be here again.
Oh, happy to have you. Okay, so today we're going to be updating your life a little bit and we're going to be talking about what you are doing right now, especially on your YouTube channel.
Yeah, we both have YouTube channel now.
You're a YouTuber now.
Yeah, it's a new thing for me, but
How long has it been?
It's been a year, almost a year.
Wow.
I started my channel, I think, in November last year. I'm not sure, but that's my channel, but I'm still not sure. Yeah, I think it's November last year. Yeah, I think it's great. It's going great. I got to learn so many things about real estate and, meet a lot of very amazing clients. Yeah.
Right. What first got you into be interested in being a YouTuber or doing content on YouTube?
Well, I have to say that I don't watch that much YouTube videos before this, but every time I watch, it's going to be the same kind of channel, like house tour, property tour. There's my favorite YouTuber like Ryan Serhant. Not sure if you ever heard of him, but he's very like a famous realtor and he's do like amazing home tours and he's so like confident and everything. And I always watch that with my husband.And
so what do you like about that kind of content, the home tour?
Because it's so like high quality and I get to see tour the millionaire mansion in LA or what it's like living in Manhattan with blah, 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 blah. It's the cool thing that you don't get to see even if you travel there.
Yeah.
And it's about a house, like beautiful houses and beautiful homes and everything is so you feel like you want to have that.for your own, but maybe it's kind of hard for you to achieve that dream in this life. So it's kind of fun to see all the beautiful, properties that owned by somebody else.
Yeah. So when was the first time that you kind of have this thought that, hey, maybe I can do this?
Yeah, I was just watching with my husband. I think that's a video of Serhant or maybe Anis. That's another YouTuber. But I was watching that.And I was like, you know what? I think I can do that. I'm an MC. I do, shows sometimes. And I feel like I told my husband, I think I can do that, but in Thai,
And what did he say?
He said, yeah, of course you can do that because he knows that I always talk all the time. So basically speaking is not the lacking skill that I have.
Okay.
So basically he's been so supportive and he said that, yeah, you should try.
Okay.
So I start having this idea of but is it going to work, because there are already, I would say real estate YouTuber already in Thailand, but I'm pretty sure that there's not many women that doing this job because I don't know, maybe it's just me that when you say or talk about real estate, you think about, men realtor, male realtor. But for me, I know that if I were to do this, I'm going to be different from the other channels that already have. And
Oh, so you already thinking strategically.
Yeah, of course.
Wow.
Yeah, like the content that I do must be different from what other people were already doing it. So,
Right.
you know, why bother if you're going to make the same videos, the same kind of videos. So, yeah, I think that I'm not going to wear suit. I'm not going to wear like a, you know,
Right.
like a very formal thingy for the
Yeah.
realtors or, you know, people who like work in real estate industry.
So what kind of vision do you see right after you make a decision to be a YouTuber?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to make it pop. I want to make it fun. I want to make it casual.
Okay.
Because I cannot do anything like too formal. I want to be informative though. I want to be able to tell the stories and, you know, like tell the detail design-wise that this is how cool it was and da-da-da. But I want it to be like more accessible, like more user-friendly, if I can
see.
use that word. I want to dress fun. I want to wear like colorful dresses and stuff. So yeah, that's how I decided to form my team, my amazing team.
Okay. And what about your audience? Who's your target audience?
Well, that's the hard part because I feel like I grow up in this entertainment industry with the different kind of audience. I
Yeah.
don't think they'll, you know, maybe not interested in what I do. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, if I do real estate thingy because it's kind of very mature and very adult-like content. And I'm not sure if my followers, like, they're so young and, you know, I'm not sure if they're going to like it. But turns out, I think a lot of people, like, you know, still watch it. I don't know if it's like the new kind of, you know, new people who like start watching me from the YouTube first or like it's the same, my same old fans. But yeah.
Okay. So once you start doing it, was it like everything you thought it was going to be or you were surprised by something unexpected?
I would say I'm not really surprised, but there's something that get me to learn new stuff, you know, like I know that what it's going to be like creating videos and working with the teams because I, you know, I have been working this kind of thing before, but now I have to work with different industry.
Right.
Yeah, I have to meet clients who work in real estate industry and that's different and I get to learn a lot more about them. I get to, you know, see the presentation file that, you know, describing about the housing project, residential project, and it's so cool and fun and everything is so new to me. But you know that feeling when you start doing something new for the first time, you don't know how it's going to turn out, but it turns out well.
Yeah.
And it turned out that you like it and there are people who like it as well, I think.
And you seem like you have a lot of fun doing the videos.
I do. I finally found my new things that I tried and love. Yeah.
And your husband too.
Yeah, and my husband.
Is that the plan? Is that intentional that you would drag your husband everywhere you go to?
Well, we already go everywhere together, but
All right.
I try to. At first, I have him as I think like a emotional support person.
Okay, so he just to be there for you to be
I just
able
want
to
him
do
be
a
that.
great
Yeah,
job.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Because he helped me a lot with my script, you know, when he's an architect, so that's
Right.
why he wants to, you know, give a lot of opinions like how you should mention about this. This is so cool about this project because I heard from my friends that it's so hard to do in Thailand, blah blah blah, and that's a cool information, you know that.
And he gets to talk sometimes.
Yeah, he gets to talk sometimes because
Because most of the time you do the talking.
Yeah.
Right?
yeah, that's true.
Okay.
And I finally convinced him to be on camera, which is so hard because he's like hates being in front of camera. You know, like he hates being.
So he's not used to that kind of attention in front of the camera.
Yeah. But I think at the end, he ก็ยอม
เริ่มสนุก เริ่มสนุกมากขึ้น
maybe
Okay, well that's good. So you've been doing this for almost a year now, and you must have been to many places,
Right.
and you must have seen places from like lots and varieties of developers. So I want to know if there's something that you have seen that you kind of think this is a new trend of
Right.
living in the future.
When you ask me about like the real estate trend in Thailand, I think I'm not qualified enough to answer to this question. But I feel like as I have seen for not a very wide experience of me, but I feel like Bangkok condo market is coming back.
I see.
Yeah, I think a lot of people after the pandemic, of course, they tend to, find a way to find new way of living and find their own place more and more. Maybe because of the work from home thinking that starts in the pandemic.
Yeah.
And people start to look for an affordable condominium, I would say, in the price that people can afford. And I saw a lot of new residential projects that been sold out after it launched for a week or so. So yeah, I think the market is coming back.
Okay. Like you mentioned, people know now that there's a possibility that we might be quarantined in the future if there's a new kind of COVID happening, right? So also there's a great possibility for them to spend a lot of time in their space. So their home is not somewhere that they just return after work and just spend a night and before they get up and go to work. So they might have to spend time, like the whole day in that space. So people tend to, I think, pay attention a lot more to how they might live in that space 24 hours.
Exactly.
Right?
So they tend to find a place that reflects on who they are. I mean, in terms of what activities they do on their free time or what kind of work they do or, the hobbies and the relationship they have at that time, they tend to find a place that, can answer all of that and, define them more. Yeah.
So it's like the work-life harmony thing.
Yeah,
they have to
exactly.
use that same space
because
to do almost everything, right?
Yeah, we heard of the word work-life balance, right? And that's, I think that's so hard. Everything in your life, you can't just put it on scale and make it balance it. It's it's so almost impossible to do that. So basically, I think work-life harmony is you know that what your goal is in life, what you're trying to work on, what your family and people around you is like, and you're trying to make it work and with everything on the same page and make it harmonious. So basically, I think it's a new trend that whether you know it or not, we are in this mindset of work-life harmony.
Yeah. And also one thing that has been a trend for a while now, and I was always wondering if this is actually happening in a lot of places, like the IoT thing or the smart home thing.
Right.
Yeah. So how much have you seen this smart home thingy in all the places or the spaces that you've been to?
I think almost everywhere, every residential project tend to add this feature like smart thingy.
Smart everything,
Yeah,
right?
smart everything.
Yeah.
And I think it's a trend and it's definitely what's going to happen in the future. And you cannot avoid that at all. For now, people are still thinking, automatic parking, is it too hard to use? It's a new thing for some people.
It sounds still futuristic for a lot of people because it's not everywhere yet. Right?
And it's still new to a lot of people, of course. Yeah.
So the idea of smart parking is it's not valid also. It's not valid. So there's no people who would come and take the car key from you and go park the car for you.
Right.
But it's a system that you can just drive into this
elevator.
Yeah,
it's like
elevator.
A box of car that fit perfectly to your car. And
they just walk away and they're going to do that thing that put our car somewhere.
Yeah. And that robot, the automatic parking robot thing.
So what do you think about this system?
I used to try that,
Yeah?
of course, but at department store where they have that.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like it's kind of scary for me the first time, but after that, I feel like this is the best invention ever. You don't have to drive around to find the available parking space.
Huge pain.
Right. And nobody likes that, especially if you want to live in a city center. It's so hard to find a parking space.
Exactly.
But everybody seems to drive a car for some reason. So basically I think it's so much easier for people with cars and it's like a life-changing innovation to have this. Yeah.
And also another problem that I think smart living thingy could solve for us is storage.
Right.
Do you have storage problem?
Doesn't anybody have storage problem?
I think that's a common problem for everybody, right? Storage. We would never have enough storage ever.
Yeah.
Because we have a lot of stuff that sometimes we haven't decided yet if we want to throw it out or we want to keep it. because that would take time to like spark joy หรือเปล่า ต้องมานั่งดูนั่งแยกใช่ไหม
condo way of things
ต่างๆ but we don't have time for that yet so maybe we just put them aside for now and that would take space
yes
Yeah.
of course that happens I think for everybody
yeah
for me it's like it's always clothes like
clothes
yeah because
Yeah.
you know because of my work I think a lot of people
Yeah.
get me clothes and it's so like they are all beautiful and I get to
Right.
wear it
Right.
but at the same time you don't really have enough space to store like I live in a condo so my wardrobe is very small and I have to have this separate big bag that filled with clothes that I don't normally like wear that
Yeah.
often but so I don't want it to like mix with the clothes that I have in my closet
Yeah.
and I have to have this separate like I would say like a movable closet
Yeah.
for me and yeah that's a problem that I think a lot of girls have
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not just like small things too, like
Yeah.
big chunky thing like a piece of furniture.
ah
And sometimes it's
right.
not just like we can throw this out because a lot of time some item has like sentimental
Of course.
meaning for us.
Exactly.
And maybe it's our like grandfather's favorite chair
Yeah.
that is actually is a very expensive piece of furniture.
Yeah.
But it doesn't go with any of your stuff. So
Yeah.
you want to just put it away, not throwing it out, but you don't have space for it.
Have you ever seen the service where they have like a rental for the storage?
Oh, the storage unit?
Yeah, like a storage unit.
Like a huge place that you can...
Yeah, like a huge place, and you can select. I think you can select the size, room
Yeah.
size, where you can, you know.
Yeah, it
where
could be
you
a whole
want it.
room too, right?
Right.
That sounds like a good business idea, but I think practically it could be pretty tricky for us too. Because sometimes when we put things away, we don't want to just treat it as a time capsule that we just bury in the ground and
Yeah.
like see
Not
you in 5
seeing it
years.
for like- yeah.
You might want to update it. You might want to do something with it, right?
Yeah, that's true. And what you said is sentimental, you know, that's something that you still want to have in your life. So the fact that you have to leave it somewhere far away and not seeing it for like a very
Yeah.
long time,
Right.
or if you want to check them out, you have to like drive all the way to like
Yeah.
open
Make a whole
the
trip
room.
to
Make a whole
visit
trip
your
to
things.
it's
Yeah.
kind of hard. So it may be a better idea to have a storage room inside like your residential project or your condo
Yeah.
that you can use the space and it's not very far from where you live. You can just like walk down and see yourself.
Exactly. Yeah, that would
Yeah.
be a very like smart
Yeah, that's going to be a
solution.
smart,
Yeah, smart solution for us hoarders.
Yeah. Oh no, we're
I don't
not
wanna be a
hoarders.
hoarder.
We're not hoarders, but it's normal
No.
for people. Like we are not able to like throw everything away. Of course.
Maybe not at the time, but maybe if we
Yeah.
have time in the future, we can just sort things out. But
Yeah.
probably now we need like storage.
Exactly.
Right? Okay. Speaking of space,
Right.
one thing that I don't want to do or to be is someone who wastes space. Like in our like living unit because okay if we are talking about condo we don't have much space to begin with so we don't want to waste any space at all to me I used to rent a condo before I rent an apartment so one place that I found a very little use of is a balcony which actually is a great idea to have a balcony.
Right.
So you can like go outside for a change and like chill for a while with your like afternoon tea or whatever.
Right.
But balcony for your situation. What is your balcony situation?
Yes,
is it actually
exactly.
usable?
I live in a condo, so I have the same problem that I
Yeah.
cannot use my balcony fully as I wished because I live in a very old condo, so I have two balconies like separately, but each one of them is like very small.
Right.
And half of that space, I have to, you know, save the space for the, you know what?
Compressor.
Yeah, an air compressor. It's just like a normal thing for, I would say, people in Thailand because we have to use the AC.
We need AC.
Yeah, we need AC and we have to have a space for this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And when, you know, we live in a condo with limited space, the balcony tend to be the place where they place a compressor.
Compressor, yeah.
And that balcony is not usable at all because it's so
so hot.
hot. Like
Yeah.
now I tend to leave my plants like home plants around there in the balcony, but some of them die because of the heat.
Oh God.
But still,
So-
like some of them strong enough to survive the heat. So
Yeah, I don't understand. I mean, we have this AC technology for like
Yeah.
I don't know, like 100 years. I don't know if that's true, but for a very long time. But
Right.
why don't they design like the AC unit without the compressor? That would be so good.
I think they have it.
Really?
Yeah.
Like AC without compressor?
Yeah, I don't know the exact name of it, but I think it's the AC based on cool water system. So basically, you don't have to have the compressor in your room or like in the balcony of your room. But yeah, so you don't have like the heat going out, and you know when you go out to the balcony, you have to like get the heat and everything.
Oh,
yeah.
I see.
But I'm not sure about the whole system and how it works. But I think that's available in some residential project. Yeah.
Right. Oh, so is it like the central air system?
Yeah, something
right?
like that.
Oh, so they don't put the unit in your residential area.
Yeah.
But they might put it in like this
Yeah,
central
like separately,
part.
and they have this center part where they can easier to maintenance and easier to
Exactly.
like set up the thing. So people will like actually live in the room, can just get the AC without having to do all the fuss or like live with the heat.
And
know?
you don't need to have the AC guy to come into your space and fix.
Exactly.
And-
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, that would be a great idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they have it in
Yeah.
some cool
And
residential
that
project.
might be something that we might have to look for in the future if
Yes.
we want to buy a condo.
Yes.
Okay. So, what else? What else do you think is a problem for people these days, and what you might want to look for in your next condo?
I would say I live in a very old condo, as I mentioned. So the problem that I think I have is the lack of garden and greenery.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
for me, because my condo was built in like I don't know 25 years ago. It's so long and so old, so there's no law to force the developer to add the greenery inside
okay.
the residential project.
Yeah, as they do now.
As they do now, because if you build like a taller building, you have to have these exact numbers of like garden and greenery inside your project, which is a very cool idea, because
Yeah.
people need greenery.
Right.
And my condo doesn't have that. They have
Yeah.
only like half of a floor to have like a proper garden with
เหมือน
big
มีแค่ให้
trees.
มีเนอะ
เหมือนมีแค่ให้มี
Yeah. Okay, we already have this, but
ใช่ and
is it
on Sunday
usable?
everybody just like cram up inside the garden because
Yeah.
everybody needs trees, like big
Right,
trees, and be in the
right.
nature at the end of the day. So yeah, it's kind of hard for me to find like a greenery, quote unquote greenery.
Okay.
in
So
my
what
residential.
have you seen like developers do to solve this problem?
Oh yeah, a lot of developers now, because of the law and also the trend that's been going on, people want to live in the city, of course. They want easy communes to work easy, but at the same time, they want to live in the greenery. They want to live close to nature. And when people do that, it becomes a trend, like people want the same thing, and the developers and designer, architect, and everyone try to add this greenery thing. I think I've seen architect and designers add the idea of pocket garden
Oh,
in
okay.
the residential project.
And
a
what
lot
would
of
that
them-
mean?
It's like it doesn't have to be big, it's just a small garden, but they tend to add it on each floor. So when you like open your window and like look around, you can see a glimpse of like big trees, or you don't have to walk down the stair or like go somewhere far to find a garden.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
it
that
doesn't have to be big, but it has to be like everywhere, all over the place.
Yeah, and that makes you feel like okay, you're in the nature. You still feel like you're not like too in a city with
Yeah.
big gray tall buildings
Building.
all around. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the idea of adding green spaces where people can actually access and use.
Right.
So to you, how would you use the green space?
I use I think I do a running, like a jogging sometimes because I have like my own treadmill inside the room, but sometimes
Okay.
you still need to like run in the
Yeah.
nature,
You don't want to
like,
run on a treadmill every single day, right?
Yeah,
You
it
need to
gives
switch it up.
different vibes, like you are outside and getting sunshine and breathe the like
fresh air
fresh air with the
Yeah.
trees all around different vibes and I think it's good for relaxation of course it sounds cliche but it's true
Yeah.
like when the pandemic hits people still like suggest that you're supposed to be like walking outside and see the trees anyway so that's one thing and another thing is I think it's good to have a lot of greenery in terms of like the air
oh
how can I put this like
I don't know
better
improve the air quality that we breathe in
exactly
yeah because you made me think of the idea of vertical garden that people can do in their own home or their own room or their own condo but it would be I think better if it's not just in your own space but it's everywhere in the project in the condo
it's better that the developers know that you need this as well and they offer you this
so do you cook
I don't
you don't
at all
okay and your husband does he cook
yes he does
Okay.
cook and he loves cooking so
Good.
that's a good thing that's a relief
I think kitchen is one of the main and major feature of a place for a lot of
Right.
people to decide or make a decision to buy a place so they would have to take a look at the kitchen first
of course
right talking about full equipped I can think of another thing which is gym
right
you mentioned that you have like treadmill at your place right
yes I do
okay but I think most people will not or don't invest in all the equipments
right
exactly at the gym but I think some people do that
do you
but not
personally
everybody
work out Pibik?
but
you do?
I go to gym
exactly so you know that how many gym equipment you have to have in order to work out on your own
but I only have like the stupid dumbbells at home and that's it and
that's what most people have inside a room
but that won't do it if you want like a full gym experience right you have to go to the gym right but if you have like a good enough gym at your condo that would be super time saving I think because we don't have to make another trip from our work and stop by at the gym and then come home right you can just go home and use the gym at your space
and you don't have to pay for the
exactly
gym membership with it can cost a lot and I think I used to use gym a lot I have a membership at a gym like next to my condo but after the pandemic I stopped going there because of like the first time they closed it down so you have to try another way to work out on your own and then after that you just like stop going there like I don't see the point where you actually have to pay and drive there and like do everything so the fact that you have a good gym at your condo is God bless like if you have that and it has like a high quality equipment it's clean and I think it's the best thing possible especially for my husband who work out every day
and I think that could be a good way to like foster a good relationship with your neighbors too because well to me I'm not that social with neighbors but if it's something that we have
a shared interest
in common like a shared interest I would not mind that at all like talking about like how do
and you have a
workout
buddy
workout buddy without having to probably get a trainer
and it sounds cool like I have a workout buddy like you seem like a very hip and cool person
and it's like they're your neighbors and this is the way we bond we're bonding over working out together
when people ask you like how do you get know each other and you were like he's my gym buddy like at my condo
that sounds so cool นะฟังดูhealthy
healthy gym at your condo must be like as I say high quality and clean and spacious and I heard that there's a new way of workout as well I mean there's an technology that involves workout with
like what?
Like a VR thingy where you can like work out but at the same time you see yourself on the screen and it's like you're playing games
actually I saw this at one gym that I used to be a member of it's like we're like running on a treadmill but there's a screen in front of us and you can just pick like you want to like for example, run in the park in Berlin or something like that.
Something like
but
that.
this is not a screen, but it's a
think-
VR.
I think they
thing,
have
right?
like a VR headset thingy going
Yeah.
on as well, or they're just like you have yourself, but as a VR version of yourself. How can I say this?
Oh,
like
okay.
you have like an avatar of yourself
avatar.
inside the game, you know.
Basically
and-
it's game, right?
Yeah, like basically it's like a game, and you can like level up when you keep working out, and it's such a cool idea, you know, and
Yeah.
it makes you want to work out more and makes you want to go to the gym because
And beat
for some
this
people,
guy.
yeah, and beat this guy.
Yeah, we love
Beat
the
this
idea
neighbor
of beating.
who like been running here and so good.
Yeah.
Like comparing to me, you can beat him in the game. Yeah.
Gamification.
Yeah,
Make everything
gamification.
games, and
Yeah.
you'll do it better and more fun.
Yeah, it would be so cool to have like if a gym at your condo can do that, you know.
Yeah, that would
Yeah.
be a dream.
Yeah.
So you don't have excuse for not going to gym anymore because
Exactly.
it's right there, very
Exactly.
close to where you live,
And it's fun.
and it's fun, and you have all the equipments that you need. So no more excuses, right?
You
and-
will still find your excuses.
yeah, that has been our problem.
Yeah.
Okay, we have too many excuses. And another thing is that if I want to look for a condo, I have to make sure that they have a good co-working space too.
Oh.
Because
right.
what if another COVID hits in the future and we were to be quarantined in this place? I don't just want to like do Zoom in my room like forever.
Because you have to clean everything up
Yeah.
inside your room. It's already messy or something
I need
like that.
space so I
Yeah.
can go and use probably like better devices, bigger screens, or stronger like Wi-Fi probably.
Yeah, higher quality audio.
Yeah, and something like that. If a condo has that would be like so much better.
Yeah, like a Zoom room, like a proper Zoom room where you can
Yeah.
use. Yeah, I think it's a future of working. I think that you need to have like a proper working room because work from home is a thing now. But when you work from home, you don't know exactly like which part is quote unquote business hours
yeah.
and which part is like your personal time. So the fact that you have a separate room that
Yeah.
said like this is a study room, this is a working room or like meeting room is gonna be so much better.
Yeah. Make a short trip, like walking for 5 minutes
Yeah.
to where you work today. And then
Yeah.
when it's lunchtime, you can just leave that space and go
Yeah.
have lunch and come back for another 2 hours of collaboration with friends and stuff.
Yeah.
And then when you're done with the work for the day, you leave that space and go to your place.
Without having to drive at
Exactly.
all. What a dream life.
Yeah. I think this is a must now
Yeah,
for
yes.
like future living space.
Exactly.
Yeah. Another great idea, which is very essential today, is the idea of inclusiveness, I think.
Right.
So, universal design, I think, is very important for the developer or the interior designer or the architect to think of, the different kinds of people who might use the space.
True. I think I heard from a podcast and the host said that universal design is a design where you design for your whole life, not just a part of your life or like just a prime of your life. So basically you design for yourself right now and yourself in the future, when you get old. And when you decide for, the whole part of your life, you also decide for your parents, right? So when, like old people come... I'm sorry. When old people come visit, they can use the space as well and they feel welcomed. Like that space is not, too high or too like slippery for them or stuff. So
it doesn't have too many levels.
yes.
So maybe slopes instead of levels.
Yes.
Or another thing I think is very smart is that the idea of replacing the doorknobs with lever.
Oh, right.
Because sometimes for a lot of people, going like this, like twisting doorknobs to open the space, even with people with a perfectly good health. But just imagine if you like have like too many stuff with you, you have to
Right.
carry all the bags.
Right.
And you don't have extra hand to just
Right.
open the door. But if it's a lever, it's a lot
Yes, it gets a lot easier.
Right.
And in my head, I was thinking when I have like nail extensions, it's so long and I cannot like
I never thought of
grab
it
the
that way
doorknob properly. Yeah, I think that would
so
be
lever,
useful.
that's another like universal design thing that I think is very smart. And wheelchair access, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
The wheelchair access is what I've seen a lot come into play when people and architect and developer design a house these days because you have to think for everyone as I mentioned, and the space between the bed or the bed to the bathroom and everything needs to design for people with disabilities as well. And if they use a wheelchair, the space must be wide enough, when they turn around or like when they need a space to a caretaker to carry them and sit on a wheelchair, they need space, they need more space. And the floor must be like on the same smooth level. You don't have to have like a little bump or something like that might cause an accident.
Even the small like threshold between like the bedroom and the bathroom, that could be a problem too with
that's
people
true.
with wheelchair.
So if the developer is thoughtful enough, I think they will carry this in mind and try to design everything for everyone.
Here's what you should be looking for on your next purchase of condominium เช็คลิสต์กันเลยนะครับถ้ายังไม่มีครบทุกอย่างตามนี้อย่าเพิ่งรีบซื้อครับอันแรกเลยครับ first and foremost location ทำเลสำคัญที่สุดถ้ายังไม่ได้ทำเลที่ในฝันจริงๆเหมาะกับไลฟ์สไตล์และชีวิตของคุณจริงๆอย่าเพิ่งรีบซื้อนะครับลองมองหาทำเลที่อยู่ใกล้กับการคมนาคมขนส่งความสะดวกสบายต่างๆในสมัยนี้เนี่ยถ้าเกิดติดรถไฟฟ้าแบบที่มีทางเชื่อมเดินเข้าสู่ตัวอาคารโดยตรงจากสถานีไปเลยได้ด้วยก็ยิ่งดีนะครับแล้วก็ดูด้วยว่าพื้นที่ที่คุณซื้อนั้นนะครับบริเวณนั้นมีการเติบโตทางมูลค่าของเศรษฐกิจมากขึ้นในอนาคตหรือเปล่าเพื่ออยากปล่อยขายจะได้ราคาดีครับ Reason number 2 utility bills ดูซิว่าค่าไฟมีผลต่อชีวิตของเรามากน้อยแค่ไหนใครว่ามีผลมากเลยนะครับทุกวันนี้จ่ายค่าไฟกันอยู่เท่าไหร่และหลายๆครั้งการที่ค่าไฟสูงนั้นเกิดจากการที่ทางโครงการไม่ได้ออกแบบเพื่อให้เราประหยัดพลังงานนวัตกรรมอย่างเรื่องของ CUP หรือว่า Central Utilities Plant เป็นการทำระบบปรับอากาศที่ใช้ความเย็นผ่านท่อน้ำเย็นนะครับหรือว่า Water Cooled Chiller System มันจะไม่มี Compressor Air ครับทีนี้ก็จะไม่ปล่อยความร้อนให้กับโครงการด้วย Number 3 Storage You need smart storage หลายๆครั้งเรายังไม่ตัดสินใจที่จะทิ้งอะไรหรือว่าเก็บอะไรใช่ไหมครับเราต้องการพื้นที่เก็บของเราต้องการพื้นที่ที่ไม่ได้อยู่ในห้องของเราหรือว่าบ้านของเราแต่ก็ไม่ไกลจนเกินไปนะครับในโครงการไหนถ้าสมมติเกิดมี smart storage ที่ช่วยเอื้อในเรื่องการเก็บข้าวของของคุณที่หลายๆครั้งอาจจะไม่ใช่แค่ว่าไม่รู้จะทิ้งดีไหมแต่ว่ามันมีความหมายกับจิตใจของเราเราก็สามารถใช้บริการตรงนี้ได้ครับข้อต่อมาที่ต้องเช็คลิสต์ก็คือ automated parking มีพื้นที่หรือว่ามีบริการที่ทำให้คุณเนี่ยไม่ต้องเสียเวลากับการวนรถหาที่จอดหรือเปล่าปัญหาข้อต่อไปนะครับหลายๆคนอยู่ในเมืองก็จริงแต่ว่ายังต้องการพื้นที่สีเขียวเพราะฉะนั้นสิ่งนี้ต้องมีครับ Well-being Park เป็นพื้นที่สีเขียวครับเล่นระดับนำธรรมชาติมาจัดเรียงไล่ตั้งแต่พื้นไปจนถึงดาดฟ้าเลยทุกจุดจะได้พบกับ Pocket Garden เล็กๆซ่อนตัวอยู่ซึ่งสามารถสัมผัสได้จากในที่พักอาศัยของคุณเลยกระจายพื้นที่สีเขียวให้อยู่ทั่วๆไม่จำเป็นต้องเป็น1พื้นที่ใหญ่แต่ว่าอยู่ในทุกที่ที่คุณสามารถจะมองเห็นสีเขียวนี้ได้รับรองว่าเป็นผลดีต่อสุขภาพจิตครับแต่นอกจากนั้นก็ยังมีผลดีต่อสุขภาพกายของเราด้วยเพราะว่าพื้นที่ที่เป็นต้นไม้สีเขียวเหล่านี้จะช่วยกรองมลพิษ PM 2.5 ต่างๆหรือแม้แต่ทางมลพิษเรื่องเสียงด้วยนะครับถ้าสมมุติเกิดยิ่งมีพื้นที่สีเขียวมากขึ้นเท่าไหร่ก็จะทำให้สุขภาพกายของเราดีขึ้นตามไปด้วย Ecological Design for Health and Wellness ซึ่งรวมถึงเรื่องของ Sound Absorption และ Air Filtrationอีกอย่างหนึ่งก็คือของเราพื้นที่ของเราไม่มีทางที่จะอยู่ในสภาพดีตลอดไปการ maintenance การซ่อมบำรุงเลี่ยงไม่ได้แต่ว่าทำยังไงให้มีปัญหาน้อยที่สุด Convenient Maintenance Design and 30-year Warranty เป็นการออกแบบระบบท่อน้ำต่างๆต่อท่อแยกออกมาจากสุขภัณฑ์ไปที่ผนังด้านหลังโดยตรงครับลดปัญหาน้ำรั่วหรือว่าท่ออุดตันสามารถบำรุงรักษาได้สะดวกไม่รบกวนตัวเราหรือผู้อาศัยอยู่ห้องอื่นๆด้วยครับอีกหนึ่งฟีเจอร์สำคัญที่ต้องเช็คลิสต์เอาไว้ก็คือเรื่องของ Lifestyle and Community Space เคยได้ยินคำว่าบ้านเป็นทุกอย่างไหมครับสมัยนี้เนี่ยพื้นที่แบบ Mixed Use Community Living เป็นสิ่งสำคัญที่ขาดไม่ได้ครับพูดง่ายๆก็คือการยกระดับพื้นที่ส่วนกลางของคอนโดให้ตอบสนองทุกไลฟ์สไตล์ของเราที่นอกเหนือจากการอยู่อาศัยครับเพราะเรามีแนวโน้มจะอยู่กับบ้านมากขึ้นเพราะฉะนั้นการใช้ชีวิตด้านอื่นๆนอกจากลิฟต์แล้ว Space สำหรับเรื่องของ Work Learn Play ก็ต้องมาพร้อมกันด้วยลองมองหา Co-Cafe พื้นที่ที่จะพาเพื่อนมานั่งชิลชิดแชทจิบกาแฟกัน Co-Play and Creation Space ไม่ว่าจะทำงานหรือประชุมก็ทำได้ที่พื้นที่ส่วนรวมนี้ Co-Kitchen and Dining พื้นที่ที่คัดสรรทั้งอาหารและเครื่องดื่มมาแล้วพร้อมให้เราเติมพลังในแต่ละวันได้สะดวกเหมาะสำหรับคนเจนใหม่และ Co-Active and Digital Lifestyle เพลิดเพลินไปกับกิจกรรมการ Workout ในรูปแบบดิจิทัลอีกหนึ่งเพนของคนเมืองอย่างเราก็คือว่าจะต้องหาพื้นที่ที่ไปออกกำลังกายนะครับและอีกอย่างหนึ่งก็คือเราไม่มีกำลังใจไม่มีแรงขับดันในการออกกำลังกายถ้าสมมติเกิดเราอยู่ในพื้นที่ที่เป็นคอมมูนิตี้ของเรานะครับเจอเพื่อนบ้านที่คุ้นเคยชักชวนกันออกกำลังกายได้มีพื้นที่แล้วก็มีฟาซิลิตี้ที่ดีมีอุปกรณ์ในการออกกำลังกายแบบครบเลยไม่ต้องซื้อเองแต่ว่าไปใช้ร่วมกันกับคนอื่นได้นะครับสิ่งนี้สำคัญมากๆแล้วก็ควรจะเป็นหนึ่งในเช็คลิสต์ของคุณด้วยProactive Gym ครับการออกกำลังกายจะเป็นเรื่องสนุกสนานผสานเทคโนโลยีทันสมัยยกระดับการออกกำลังกายรูปแบบเดิมๆให้เป็นเกมที่สนุกได้ทั้งกับเพื่อนๆแล้วก็จะเอนจอยกิจกรรมคนเดียวระหว่างวันก็ย่อมได้เรื่องน้ำท่วมก็สำคัญนะครับต้องเช็คลิสต์ไว้เลยว่าที่คุณจะไปซื้อแล้วก็อยู่กันไปยาวๆในอนาคตเนี่ยดูซิว่าเขามีเรื่องของ Flood Protection ด้วยหรือเปล่านั่นก็คือเป็นโซลูชันในการรับมือกับปัญหาน้ำท่วมนั่นเองนะครับต้องไปดูซิว่าทาง Developer มีความใส่ใจในเรื่องนี้มากน้อยแค่ไหนด้วยหรือถ้าเกิดจะดีกว่านั้นนะครับมีพื้นที่ที่จัดเอาไว้ให้เป็น Rescue Floor อย่างนี้นะครับเป็นพื้นที่สำหรับเกิดเหตุฉุกเฉินกับลูกบ้านไม่ว่าจะเป็นไฟดับมีน้ำท่วมพายุเข้าหรืออะไรก็ตามทีนะครับลูกบ้านทั้งหมดสามารถลงมาใช้พื้นที่ส่วนรวมตรงนี้ได้เป็นพื้นที่ปลอดภัยนะครับและตรงนั้นเนี่ยก็จะมีทุกอย่างครบเลยไม่ว่าจะเป็นพลังงานนะครับการชาร์จมือถือมีเครื่องกำเนิดไฟฟ้ารองรับชั่วคราวหรือว่ามีพื้นที่ทำอาหารสามารถจะอยู่รอดตรงนั้นได้ด้วยเช็คลิสต์ข้อสุดท้ายสำคัญที่สุดนะครับ reliable developer คุณมี developer ที่ไว้ใจได้มากแค่ไหนผลงานของเขาเป็นยังไงเขาอยู่มายาวนานแค่ไหนแบรนด์ของเขามีชื่อเสียงมากน้อยแค่ไหนสิ่งนี้ทำให้เราเกิดความสบายใจในการที่จะอยู่ตรงนี้ไปยาวๆยังมีความสุขครับและเช็คลิสต์ทุกข้อที่ผมว่ามานะครับ Whizdom COEX checks all the boxes ตอบโจทย์ได้เกือบทุกข้อเลยนะครับ Whizdom COEX โดย MQDC ตั้งต้นมาจากคอนเซปต์เรื่อง enjoyable coexistence การออกแบบพื้นที่แบบเจนใหม่ที่ตอบสนองทุกด้านของชีวิตให้อยู่ร่วมกันได้อย่างลงตัวไม่ว่าจะเป็น live work learn or play เชื่อมต่อทุกไลฟ์สไตล์อย่างลงตัวแบบ seamless life experienceซึ่งตอนนี้ MQDC ได้เปิดโครงการแรกนะครับของ Whizdom COEX ที่ปิ่นเกล้าครับเป็นโครงการแรกภายใต้แบรนด์ Whizdom COEX ในรูปแบบของคอนโดมิเนียม Mixed Use บนพื้นที่รวมกว่า 4 ไร่บนถนนจรัญสนิทวงศ์และโครงการ Whizdom COEX by MQDC ก็ยังอยู่ติดกับสถานีรถไฟฟ้า MRT สายสีน้ำเงินสถานีบางยี่ขันธ์ด้วยนะครับและที่สำคัญมี COEX Space นะครับเป็นพื้นที่ไลฟ์สไตล์คอมมูนิตี้อยู่ภายในโครงการเลยพร้อมตอบสนองไลฟ์สไตล์ทุกด้านของชีวิตครับใครสนใจโครงการ Whizdom COEX ปิ่นเกล้าดูรายละเอียดแล้วก็ลงทะเบียนผ่านหน้าเว็บไซต์หรือ Line @Whizdom COEX ปิ่นเกล้าเพื่อเข้าชมเซลล์แกลเลอรี่ได้ตั้งแต่วันนี้เป็นต้นไปหรือสอบถามข้อมูลเพิ่มเติมได้ที่1265Okay, let's talk about one super classic question that people might have about their living space or their home should you rent or buy and when is the time to know that it's time to own a place not just rent have you ever asked yourself that question or anybody ever asked your opinion about this
At one point in my life, I think I considered rental, of course, because I was young and I don't have enough money to like just invest or thinking about buying a condo or room is so hard, and so unattainable. But at this point, if I have to answer this question, I would say buy it.
Yeah.
But I would use the word invest in it because it's an investment. It's not just like you go buy a bag or you go buy, like a regular stuff. This is a place where you live. This is a property. This is a real estate investment. You think of it as an investment. And I think it's the best decision for anybody to, like, if you have enough money, you have a stable income, you think you have like a financial stability, I think you should. I'm not qualified to answer to this question again, but I feel like you should invest in where you live.
But from your opinion, what is the advantage of owning a place as opposed to rent it?
I feel like you will have to use the place anyway. If you own the place, of course, the first reason is you want to live there, right? You choose a condo because you feel like this place is good for me. I want to see myself living in it. And another reason is if one day you like, your life change, you have a bigger family, you want to move out, you don't want to live in a city anymore, you can rent it out. And it's still like a good reason to buy a place.
Yeah.
Like
it's still your asset. It's still your
it's still your asset.
property.
And that feeling of owning a place, I still remember the first time that I used my savings and spent it on a real estate property. It's such a fulfilling feeling. I don't know how to express it in words. It feels like you did it, you really did it, and you're not going to regret buying a property, I think. Yeah.
And I understand the price only goes up.
Yes.
If you pick a great location.
Yeah, you gotta, but yeah, of course, I support buying or like investing, but you have to make a good decision, of course.
Yeah.
You have to really study about it. You have to make sure about your financial aspect in your life, and you have to really understand your needs and what is going to happen in the future in terms of like real estate market. But, to put in a short answer, I feel like you need to select a good location. Location, as everybody said,
Right. And to me, I used to both rent and own, but I think the biggest difference is that you can do whatever you want. With what you own, with the place you own.
Because with the rentals, you cannot like build this or do that.
Because it's not yours. You just here and you just, pay the rent and it's not yours.
And you will have that feeling that I'm not going to invest that much on the furniture or like doing this and that because it's not mine anyway.
But someday I have to move out anyway, so you don't want to invest anything and do that long project for like home improvement with it. First of all, it's not yours to do anyway.
Right.
And second of all, why bother? Because someday you might want to move out.
That's
so,
true.
but if you pick a place that is really yours, you have, I think, the sense of ownership.
Yes.
Right? That this
and
is
that's
my
so
place.
powerful.
Yeah, and I can actually call this home. And also, I think the sense of who we are right here in our space, right?
Right. Actually, that's the first reason that moving out pops up in my head the first time because I was living with my parents. Of course, like everybody lives with their parents at one point of their life. And, my parents and I have a very like large age gap. So we clash a lot. And I love my parents though, but it's normal to have like have to live with the older generations.
You mean clash like taste-wise, right? Like the taste, how you see things could be like decorated.
Yeah, the taste as well. But it's still their house. I cannot like say anything or like do this and that because basically it's their house.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's hard to force my lifestyle into their lifestyle because we live a very different kind of life. So yeah, the first time that I want to move out is that I want to have my own space. I want to have a space that I can call my own and I can decorate in my own way, my own style.
Reflecting your personality.
Yeah, and reflect my personality, of course, because I have a very strong style, I would say. I know what I like, I know what I don't like. So the fact that I want to move out and have my own room that I can, redo and make everything my own is like a very big thing for me that I really want to do. So when I move out and move to my condo with my husband, again, it's his condo. I feel like it's mine now.
Okay.
And I feel it like it's more, I can do everything more freely. I know where I can do my hobbies, like I work out in the morning, I'm going to use this space, and I reflect my lifestyle where I can paint or draw around here. I have my own room where I feel like this space got a good sunlight. I want to take many selfies here and do some contents here. I make everything on my own. And it feels like it defines me. Yeah.
Wow, so great. So anybody who would want to follow and see your content on YouTube, they can go to JUNEJUNE. It's very simple and straightforward. Find JUNEJUNE on YouTube.
Remember my own channel name, but basically just Google JUNEJUNE and it's gonna pop up.
So that's a channel where JUNEJUNE would take you to many places and see all the possibilities, I think.
Yes.
That maybe can you imagine yourself in this place, or can you imagine your lifestyle cooperated with this space? I think that's the best part of the show like yours.
And I promise I make it fun. I promise it's not gonna be too informative and boring and anything. So if you want to find a new place to live, you can check out my channel. I do so many property tours that I think you're gonna like. Yay.
Okay, thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you for having me.
And please come back again.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Bye. ขอบคุณค่ะ
ปลายปีแบบนี้ผมเชื่อว่าหลายคนมีคำถามครับว่าเศรษฐกิจโลกและเศรษฐกิจไทยในปีหน้าจะเป็นอย่างไรอะไรคือแนวโน้มอะไรคือเทรนด์ที่ต้องจับตาอะไรคือโอกาสอะไรคือความเสี่ยงรู้ก่อนปรับตัวก่อนก็มีโอกาสชนะก่อนเทรนด์เศรษฐกิจมหาภาคเทรนด์ธุรกิจความยั่งยืนเทรนด์ภูมิรัฐศาสตร์โลกเทรนด์ธุรกิจ New S Curve เทรนด์สื่อและการตลาดเทรนด์อนาคตการทำงานเทรนด์คริปโตและ Metaverse เทรนด์การเมืองไทยหาคำตอบได้ที่งาน The Standard Economic Forum 2022 Age of Tomorrow เศรษฐกิจไทยบนปากเหวบัตรมี3แบบครับแบบแรกออนไลน์ขยายเวลา Early Bird เหลือเพียง 2,500 บาทแบบที่2 On Ground เข้าร่วมเสวนาสดๆถามได้ทุกเซสชั่น1วันราคา 1,900 บาท3วัน 4,900 บาทเท่านั้นแบบที่3 Exclusive Dinner กับคุณอานันต์ปัญญารชุนพร้อมเสวนา3วันเต็ม 20,000 บาทสำหรับคุณผู้ชมช่อง KND ผมมีส่วนลดพิเศษเพื่อเป็นการขอบคุณเพียงกรอกคำว่า KND ลด 10% ในบัตรทุกประเภทที่ไทยทิกเก็ตเมเจอร์ครับ